All right, let's look at the question of how to get price out of our market with a percentage tax. So again, we've got a supply function, we've got a demand function. These have all the information we need, but I want to put it in price terms. That's just going to make my life easier. So I'm going to sort of do the analogous thing of getting to this equation, and I'll leave it to you to find delta P. I want to move on to price controls after this. So we've got these, we need to rearrange. So let's start with the supply curve. What have we got? We've got P minus A over B. That is going to be equal to QS, and since we're in equilibrium, QS equals QD. Let's find QD. That's going to be, I'm going to lay it out explicitly, P plus PT minus C all over negative D. All right, that wasn't too bad. A little bit of algebra. Now we want to find price on its own. I think I'm going to want to do some cross multiplying. So if I do negative D times P minus A equals B times P plus PT minus, that was a C, right? C. Minus C. All right, what have we got? Minus A minus D becomes AD minus dP equals BP plus BPT minus BC. Let's pull these P's together, so we'll add BC. AD plus BC equals all this stuff in terms of price. We're going to add dP to both sides, so let's just go ahead and factor out the P right off the bat. B plus BT, right, there's that P pulled out there. We add dP, so we're going to be adding, really explicitly make that T, adding D times P. So P equals AD plus BC all over B plus BT, and that's really just B times 1 plus T. B times 1 plus T. All right, so we kind of multiplied that into there. B plus T, where did I lose myself? Plus D. All right. There, we've got price. So that is price at a tax of T. Let's ask a question. What happens as we increase T? Well, all these A, D, B, C, A, B, C, D, those are all fixed numbers. Those are some number, right? But they are not a variable within whatever system they represent. We've got the price for all kinds of linear systems, and the only variable here is that T. If that T gets bigger, this gets bigger. If this gets bigger and this stays the same, we'll go from 1/4 to 1/3 to 1/4 to 1 in a million. The overall price is going to fall as we increase that tax. Cool. All right, so next up is going to be price controls. So we'll lay that out. A little bit of basic terminology since we are ahead of the curve on this video. So we've got our supply and demand, and we expect some particular equilibrium price. We have pressure towards that price for reasons we've discussed already, but we could have restrictions on allowable prices. So if we have a maximum price like this, that means any price down here is fine. Any equilibrium in this purple region of the graph is okay, but we cannot get to this point. I was going to try and cross that out, but you can't X out an X. So the problem that we run into here is we're going to be stuck with a maximum quantity supply. That is all that we can get if we are going to restrict the price. And we are going to run into this problem where our quantity demanded gets bigger than that. For a minimum price, we're going to have the reverse problem. We're going to be restricted by how many people are willing to buy at the too high a price. We can go into secondary effects in that video, but let's just go here. We'll say we can have a maximum price. It's going to set up these sorts of problems. This is something we call a price ceiling, or we could have a minimum, which we would call a price floor. And I'm drawing the floor above the ceiling not because that's how it works, but because we could either have a floor that is too high and then have something to draw graphs about. We could have a floor that is too low to do anything, in which case we would just go to the equilibrium. But if we have a ceiling that's too low, then we are pulled away from our equilibrium. So we wouldn't have this floor and this ceiling at the same time, right? If this is our maximum price, our minimum price has to be beneath that. But this is a binding price floor, and this is where the math gets a little bit tricky because we have to realize that our equilibrium involves this quantity. But I will do that in a separate video.